infrastructure is definitely key to the success of a city and the quality of life for everyone that's in that city. Now, for those of us who are here today, many of us are going to be riding our bikes because it's recreational for us. It's fun, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is there anyone here that depends on your bike as your primary and only mode of transportation? Let's see your hands. I'm glad you put your hand up. I want people to understand that there are many of us here in the city of Salisbury who use our bikes as a primary mode of transportation. And when you think about that, I want you to think about the fact that we're just doing it for fun most times. So what about the people who are using their bikes all the time for their transportation? They have the right to be safe when they're moving about the city. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
So our bike lanes are critical. Our bike lanes just aren't to make our city look good. They have a real function. They protect us when we're out recreating, but they also protect those people who are on their bikes all the time. And that's how they're going to the grocery store. That's how they're going to work. That's how they're going to their houses of worship. It's how they're moving about the city. And so we want our city to be able to support everyone and for everyone to feel like that they're safe here. So we have our Greenway Committee. And while I was serving as mayor, we used to have groups that would come through City Hall. And one of the groups that came through was a bike camp from the pedal factory with a lot of youth that was in it, ages like from 12 to 15. So as we were looking at City Hall and they were asking me questions, the bike infrastructure came up. And so one of the students said to me, do we have a committee that just looks at what's happening to people who are riding bikes? And I said, well, actually, we don't. What a simple solution. So I went back to the council and I went back to the city manager and I said, you know what? We need to have a committee that can look at this and help us with developing this in the way that it needs to happen. So after a lot of conversation, it just made sense to merge them into the Greenway Committee. So now it's the Greenway Pedestrian and Biking Committee. So see, yeah, these are the kinds of things. Yeah, that deserves a hand. Yeah. That came from the people. And so when I talk about information coming from people and about us working in a way that is collaborative, that is important because there's a lot of brain power out here in this group, right? Is that right?
We hope so.
We hope so, right? We hope so. You know, just the brains on the city council are not the only brains that work. We have brains throughout this city that work, and we need to be collaborating with all of that wisdom across our city because it's important. A city council, when we talk about an equity lens, I'm so glad you brought that up, Pastor and Dylan. I really appreciate you talking about that. Why an equity lens is so important is because it makes you work with intentionality. It makes you to be deliberate about who is not at the table. It makes you stop and look around to see who is not represented. And so when you don't have a council and when you don't have a city manager that has that kind of mission, that has that kind of understanding, then the rest of your organization doesn't have that understanding either. So it's going to be critical that as we're moving into as we're in the 21st century, and the fact that Salisbury is a 21st century city, that we have to act and think and move like a 21st century city. And that means that we're considering everybody and we're looking at how important infrastructure is around transportation and being creative and innovative about how we improve that. So please look me up, alhagens.com. Check me out. This veteran would love to have your vote. I'm a mama and a grandmama too. I'm out on Aunt B today. So y'all take pity on me with Aunt B, all right? If I slow down, y'all come back and get me. That's all I ask. So thank you so much. And remember, as you come back to get me today on my bicycle, that's the same way. I learned this in the Army, that a platoon and a battalion and a brigade moves. This city, it is our brigade. And we can only move as fast as our slowest person because we don't want to leave anybody behind. Thank you so much. Yes, I am getting a good view of what it's like to be in the bike lane over here on Old Concord Road. And it is an eye-opener. And I was just saying that as someone who is not as experienced bike riders as some others, I would not feel comfortable over here by myself. I feel much more comfortable in a group. So I am empathetic to people who have to ride up and down this road on their bike. I just want them to be safe.
Hi, I'm Al Higgins, and I'm asking for your vote.